Welcome to Model with Mel. I had to change the day this week. I apologize. We're doing it on Thursday this week instead of Wednesday. I had a little bit of a cold I was getting over yesterday, but we're back up. I finally have my voice back, and my sore throat is all gone. So I'm so excited to be back. Today, we're going to continue working on the project that we have been working on the last few weeks. We are going to be developing a lot of the exterior, and we might get to some interior things today as well. Last time we were exploring possibly doing a faux cathedral ceiling in this kitchen area that we have, and then also creating a livable space for the second story. Instead of having it just be an attic space, we're also considering using it as a bonus room. So I'm going to pop you guys up on Instagram. I'm going to move you from looking at my beautiful face to looking at my beautiful Revit model. If you want to get the full screen experience with my face, you can go over to YouTube. The replays are also always saved to YouTube. They're saved here as well. But again, the quality is always better on YouTube because you're getting a full screen recording of what I'm doing. So let's just dive straight into it. I'm so excited. I love being able to keep developing the project with you all. So I'm just making sure everything looks good. Everything looks good. All right, so I'm just gonna play some background music. I really feel like I need some instrumental live sessions. So hopefully this is loud enough, but not too loud where it drowns out my voice, because I don't want that to happen. So let's just review some of the stuff we've been doing. So here's the floor plan. We're walking in, there's bedrooms here. I did end up talking to Emily about what she was thinking for this room configuration. So it does look a little different than the last time if you go back to the last video. I have the door here. I didn't know what she was intending with this space. She actually was thinking that this would be a pass-through and there would be a laundry system over here. So I made those edits, and that's why the floor plan will look a little bit different. So if I go to this section, this is really where I was exploring the idea of doing a faux cathedral within this space, and then also doing like a vaulted entryway. So if I take a section box, I can look at this space in 3D and crop to it. So this whole entry space, I was also considering doing like a complete vaulted ceiling, like circular, not circular, but an arched ceiling in this entire entryway. If we go back to this section, this is 6 feet over here, so this is complete space that could be finished. It also could be unfinished. So we're definitely probably going to have two plan options with this one. We're going to have one plan option where, you know, it's not a cathedral ceiling, it's just a flat ceiling, and all of this is just attic space with an attic drop down like over here. In our mid-tier higher level stock plan, for people who are looking for more square footage and a little bit more of a high-end finished look, we will be including the cathedral ceiling as a touch. We'll be including the finished area on the second floor, and we'll be adding stairs over here. So that's just a little bit about our thought process. This will be the first stock floor plan that we complete and bring to life, the first one that will be on our website. I'm really hoping in a few months that once we get things up and going with the residential design and offering our design services and our stock plans, that we're able to bring in some cash flow and we can actually purchase Lumion. I love Lumion. I've used it at all my past jobs. Now your girl's on her own, so she's gotta pick and choose the programs here. So hasn't been top priority, but I definitely would love to get our stock plans rendered in Lumion eventually when we are there in our process of just developing, honestly, everything. It's one step at a time. So this is what we are working with right now. It really took a long time last week with the dormer because I really was intentional with this section. I sent out in my newsletter a little bit of a breakdown about last week's Model with Mel, just because I wanted it to be not just let's just throw this dormer on and now you know how to do a dormer in Revit. I took you through the actual step-by-step of here is my thought process when I'm creating roofs and creating dormers. It's not just let's throw a dormer here. What can the space be? And you really have to take a section and look at it and understand it in this way. Revit is invaluable to me just by the fact that I can draw something and immediately see a section of it and start manipulating it in section, in 3D, and all of those ways, because you really just get a feel and understanding for the design and any potential design issues or conflicts. And like while I was doing this and I took the section, it really allowed me to see, oh, this could be a perfect opportunity for a faux cathedral in this ceiling, really elevate the space. Possible skylights to kitchen. I write notes to myself during design. So this is a whole process, making sure the windows are going to fit, making sure there's enough room for a header, placing our top plates to make sure that, you know, what we're doing is indeed going to be buildable. I don't like to necessarily design something unless I know it's going to be able to be constructed. That's just the way that I have been taught. That's the way that I learned to always be thinking about what is this actually going to look like when it's built. I think that having a basic understanding of wood frame construction is so crucial when you are using Revit, just because there's so much that, you know, we want to bring to life within this program, and the more we understand, the more accurate it can be. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to place some windows. These are, which ones are these? I can't even really see. They look like picture windows. Casement. They're casement windows, which means that they open from the side, which I don't mind. I'm trying to decide if I want to add any mullions or anything. These are 4x8 by 5, 4 8 by 5. So they're 4-8 tall and 5 wide because they're doubles. I don't even know if these are. I don't think I really necessarily placed a height. So the sill height's around 2.2. And actually the head of the window is matching where the head of the door is. So it ended up working out pretty successfully in where I placed these. I'm just going to click on a few of them, and all the sill heights are set to be the same here. And I'm pretty sure when I aligned this in section, or in elevation, excuse me. So I'm going to just select the elevation. And I just want to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do for these windows. So we're going to put a window here in the bathroom, and we have it centered on this window. And then this triple window should be centered on this double window, which it is. And you can see when we're in our 3D 2D elevation that we can start to see these dashed lines, and that represents how it's going to open. So the hinge is on the side where the lines meet, and then this is the way that it opens. When we're in 3D, obviously we don't see that. It's a 2D depiction that's available for us. So, and then over here I changed the scale coarse, so you can see that if I change it to be coarse, it just shows less and less detail. This is called your detail level, and I always like it to be set to fine, just so that we're seeing as much of the true elements as we can. You'll notice that when I switched to medium, these mullions just became 2D lines instead of actually showing up like a physical property with a thickness to it, where before it was just a line. I want to see if I have casement set up. So these are from Andersen Windows, Andersen website. It's a window and door company. You could just Google them. They have a whole BIM library. It's where I have all of my windows downloaded and saved from because they're phenomenal families to work with, and they have just so many windows and doors and all of these things. So here you can actually select an exterior trim number. So right now they don't have any trim assigned to them. I'm going to automatically go in and add trim to them. I'm going to pick number 2. I'm going to do the 3.5 flat casing. So I'm going to hit OK, and what's going to happen is it's going to go through, it's going to change all of the windows throughout the entire project and add casing to them. Before I was using Andersen Windows, before I really knew processes and things that worked well, I was modeling casement with like a wall, like cutting out the wall and making it trim, or I was modeling it in place as an element and then kind of like applying it or attaching it to the wall as a wall-based element, which was a whole process to create, and it worked for what I needed it to do. But once I started using Andersen Windows and was able to look at the capabilities that the families offer you, it has changed the game for me. It's made a lot of things easier with windows and doors, just the casement thing alone, the ability to change all these mullions. So I do like the way this looks traditionally, but I think I'm going to go for a little bit of something different. I want to switch it up. You can change the grill bar size. You can enter in the pattern number and then lights wide, lights high. So right now it's set to colonial, which is just the standard, you know, down the center over, and we're doing 2x2. So if we upped this, we could do 4x4. I'm just going to hit apply so we can just see what that's changing. It's going to divide the, I got a piece of hair on my hands. It's going to divide the windows into 4x4s. Yeah, see, so 4 this way and 4 this way. That's what this means. And I'm going to put this back. I'm going to put this to 2 again. I'm going to change the pattern number. A modified colonial. So let's just go through some of these different types. We started off with colonial. We are now going to see what a modified colonial looks like. It does take a little bit of time for Revit to think through these changes. So modified colonial is just the top half. And we're going to see what prairie is. There's all of these different terminologies that we don't even realize exist within architecture. Like colonial, modified colonial, prairie, short fractional, tall fractional. I had never heard any of these terms before working in practice. So if you don't know or have never heard these terms before, do not fret. It's normal. You will learn these things as you go. So this is prairie. I want to see what short fractional and tall fractional is, and then we'll pick one and we'll move on. I thought I would like prairie, but I don't know if I do. And I don't know if prairie would necessarily work with a 1x1. I'm not really sure. I don't think it would, but so short fractional is just a little bit of mullions at the top, and for the last one, we're going to see what tall fractional is for this window family. Tall fractional, I'm assuming, is just going to be a taller version of this. Again, if you've never heard these terms before, to describe windows, you're not alone. So modified colonial and tall fractional are pretty similar. Tall fractional, they just don't have like a double horizontal bar. What I'm going to do for this project, I think I want to try prairie, but I want to see what it looks like if it's just one. I don't even really know if that's possible. I will just test out different things, see how they look, see how they feel. This is all part of the process for me. I didn't think that the prairie was going to change with only one, and it didn't. I thought I was going to want to do prairie, but I don't want to do prairie. I'm gonna change it back to... I'm actually thinking for this, I think I want to do something different. I always do colonial. It's like habit to do colonial. So I feel like I want to try modified colonial. I'm going to change this. If I keep it at 1, I think it's still going to do 2. I always get a little bit confused on like what it's going to actually show up as, if one of things is even a possibility. Like here with the prairie, it gave us the option of doing 1. It didn't actually produce 1. So this one, just horizontal lines, which actually does, you know, make sense. It's interesting that the dash lines actually changed. I didn't realize we were in 3D before, so I didn't know that was changing. I don't really know why that's happening. So for modified colonial, I'm going to put the 2 lights back in again. I'm just going to take a look at how that looks and feels. All right. So I think it just feels like too busy with this. There was a third option we did, short fractional or tall fractional. I think I want to try tall fractional just because it's similar to this, but it felt like there was a little bit less going on up above. I think it's just like 1 and 1 vertical, 1 horizontal for the fractional. Yeah, 1 vertical, 1 horizontal. And I think I definitely like this the best. I feel like these windows are so big that breaking them up with this type of grill pattern works really well. It also feels like it's working really well with this grill pattern on this window that's in the bathroom. And then up here as well, because these are smaller windows, they just have the full cross mull, whatever you want to call it, the colonial mullion. So definitely going to keep that. I don't know why when I changed it, it went from, you know, being a middle center hinge to an up above hinge. I wonder if I change it back to colonial, if that will affect those 2D lines. I'm just curious. I'm going to keep it as it is now, but I'm just curious how those detail lines, the dashed lines, change. Yeah, so it does change them, which is pretty interesting to me. I'm just going to change this back to tall fractional. And it's all right that the 2D line's changing. I'm really going to be focused on this in 3D anyways, so it'll be okay. An error occurred. Cancel. Interesting that an error occurred. Okay. We're going to enter in the pattern number again. We're going to do 5, 5. I don't really know why it's not working. Alright, so it did change. Again, those 2D lines look a little bit funky in 2D. Honestly, I could just change the family. It's probably just something within the family that's broken or not right, but it's fine. We're gonna look at it in 3D. It looks beautiful, so we're gonna keep going. I want to develop this roof. I think I want this to be metal and the rest to be shingle. Let's finish placing some windows though, because I feel like I'm just all over the place. So I need to figure out where else I want some windows. Let's go to some window families. I want to do a triple, so I'm going to type in triple. I have Casement Anderson triple. I have a 10x6. I could just change it if I want to, but I'm just going to plop it in, see how it looks. This is like a big living room space, so I feel like I definitely want something centered here. For sure. Yeah, so the sill height obviously needs to match 2, 2 1/4, so I'm just going to copy that over there. I'm going to copy that over here. Ooh, this should be 2 feet. All right. So this is just in general a taller window. So the sill height is in fact the same, but the head height is obviously going to be different because this is a 10-foot wide by 6-foot 6 tall window. I do really like the tall window here because this feels like a separate element. There is going to be mullions on this, so let's go in and add those. Let's add the trim, so number 2. Let's go up here, add some lights. Let's do 2 by 2, and let's set this to tall fractional. Some of the projects, I feel like if they're more modern, they require like the clean, normal look. It really just determines the style of the building, the aesthetic of the building you're trying to go for. And I feel like windows are one of those things that you can even ask the client per project, like, hey, what window type do you prefer? Do you like this? Do you not like this? And they can make a decision themselves at that point on what style window they prefer. So this would be a perfect opportunity in this space here to have its own cathedral moment, a true cathedral, where we are actually framing the ceiling to the roof rafters. That is a true cathedral. I'm calling this a faux cathedral because, yes, one side of this cathedral in the kitchen cathedral ceiling in the kitchen would be taking the angle of the overall roof rafter on the left, but on the right, we would create a faux rafter on the inside to create the faux cathedral look on the inside. So I hope that that distinction makes sense. This is like a true cathedral space if we were to do that there, whereas on the inside it would be a faux cathedral. So I will definitely have to investigate like the interior space. We don't have any floors in right now, so it might be a little bit hard to see. But I do think it could be interesting to have a faux cathedral over here and maybe stop past like dining room chairs so that when you first enter, it just opens up into that cathedral ceiling. And then it's flat ceiling, flat ceiling, flat ceiling, and then it opens up into a cathedral ceiling. It might be a little bit awkward though because this whole space is like living room and this would just be a cathedral, so it might not be worth it. I also feel like maybe having more than one cathedral ceiling space in this area would take away from the cathedral itself, like having 2 of them. I feel like one just feels more intentional, but there's definitely 2 different options for the location of it. Like I said, the kitchen is where I'm going to be putting it, but you could also put it down here and maybe even, you know, this part would be a true cathedral and then you extend it back to this portion so that the wall, so that the space actually feels like a dedicated living room space. So if I were to put a dash line here and like this ceiling here changed into cathedral, I feel like that alone, like a ceiling change, really allows you to make a space feel like it's different even though it's one room and it's open concept. A lot of open concept plans feel really inviting and they're really popular. A way for you to distinguish the spaces and the zones of the house is to really utilize the ceilings. I feel like a lot of times in design, especially in residential projects, we're not always thinking about the ceilings, we're not always thinking in section. So that's something that I always want to be doing. I feel like it could be a really good opportunity to have a cathedral ceiling in this whole area, if we go back to the floor plan, to distinguishify I don't even know if that's a word. Distinguify. That's not a word. Distinguish the two areas. I also feel like it could be still a really good idea to have that cathedral on this side. I do want to finish placing the windows. I do feel like this mass feels good having the head height bump up here because it's sort of in its own little world. So if I go to the first floor plan, I'm just going to go in. I'm going to add a couple more of these double hungs that we're already using. I want this to be where the dining room is. So I'm going to place a window here in this zone. So one of the things to consider talking about doing a cathedral for this space is the stairs probably have to be here. So how does that work? You know, if you're going to build the cathedral to this front roof slope and sort of extend that back into the building, like we were talking about doing here in the kitchen, how does that work with stairs? You know, it really doesn't, because you're creating a head height down here that you can't get past. So there's a lot of things to consider. If you're not using the second floor as a finished area and you're just going to use an attic pull down to get up there, perfect. You can make this whole area a cathedral and make this push back, because you're not going to need to put stairs here. But in the event that this is a finished second floor and somebody does want to utilize that, you probably wouldn't want a cathedral here, because you're going to want the stairs to go up there. And this roof would continue back on the inside. We'd have those faux rafters to carry the shape of this roof inside here in this space. I hope that makes sense. I know I'm talking in 3D. I'm switching views a lot. But I really like to talk through the design process, what I'm thinking, how I'm visualizing this space on the inside, how I'm thinking if it's going to work. There's obviously so many different variables. This isn't for a specific client, so there's no one saying I would prefer this over this. It's just me deciding what I want to do for every project, and also slightly changing some of the projects to make them more affordable or more higher end. So like having a lower, more affordable version of this plan versus more of a higher end, more construction costs to the project, those two options for the same floor plan. So there's definitely a lot of different things I can do, and I just have to sort of figure out what the best thing is. I think I'm going to place 2 windows here in this space. I gotta flip all these windows because they are not showing the casing on the outside. So I'm just flipping all the windows with the little arrow. The casing's right here on the outside. This one I don't think has casing, so let's just go in and add that to this. Okay, this is a little bit different. Flat casing for this one's number 5. So we're just gonna update that there. We're definitely going to want a window by the sink. So I'm going to do create similar, but I'm also going to pick a different. So the range is actually here. The sink is here. That's something that changed in the floor plan since I talked to Emily. We also changed around this. This is a closet for this room. This is a closet for when you walk in. I'm not entirely sure, again, what we're going to do with this space. If we're going to keep this we're gonna make a sort of division here. I'm just using this right now as a guideline, as a reference for this, to divide this space, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be, you know, a cathedral ceiling. I think, you know, I don't really know what I think right now. I think I just need to model some stairs and see how that's gonna look. So I have to put in a second floor here. I'm gonna put in a floor so I can create a finished floor height and I can get some stairs. Do I want to do that? Or do I want to work on the exterior? So many different things I can do right now. I feel like the exterior should be my top priority. You know, I don't really picture stairs going anywhere else. I feel like they really do have to be here in this corner. So I don't really think a full cathedral unless I like knock out a space here, but then that kind of looks weird, so. Yeah. Maybe we could just do like a coffered ceiling in there. I don't know. I don't know. Because this is definitely higher up than the other one. So the ceiling is probably going to have to be higher on this side. But it's alright. I feel like this could be cute with like a circular element here. You know, I do kind of like the brick. This was supposed to be a stone hatch pattern, but I had it saved as a brick hatch pattern, which is fine. I actually kind of like it. And then I don't think there's really any more room for windows here. I'm gonna try and center this within this area. Oops, moved my design line. No. Alright, so that's good enough. I want this to come out more, so I'm going to move this out more. I'm going to move it out 2 feet. I'm also going to move this out 2 feet. You know, there could be like a little nook or a bench in here. I wanted this to feel bigger, more like an entrance. So let's go in and let's fix up some of these roof issues. Let's move this out. So I always want it to be 1 foot off of the stud because I'm always measuring from the pieces of wood. So I don't know how this got so moved out. Okay. So that is fixed. I do have to fix the walls a little bit, but I definitely do feel like that feels much better. Sticking out more. There's more, it's more of an entrance. I'm just gonna change this. Great. Oh, it messed up my roof over here? What? That's weird. I wonder... I must have moved the whole roof by accident. Okay. So, let me go to the first floor. Let me edit this footprint. I must have moved this whole thing by accident. I just gotta pop in here real quick and fix this. That's why it was off by like 3 feet. I was like, what is happening? What is happening? Alright, so well, I want to do a circular window up here. I feel like, I don't know, maybe it just needs a circular window. This is a picture window. Picture window feels kind of ugly. Ugly. I'm actually trying to see if I have any better doors. This door's kind of ugly. I think I could definitely have a better looking front door here. We have one with a double gliding E-series in swing. Alright, so let's do something a little more attractive. Let's put this here. I'm gonna grab some side lights. I just want to make sure this was 3 feet. 3 feet by 6'8", perfect. I also think this could be like 2. Okay. So the side lights from Anderson are actually loaded into the door family, so I'm in the door family is popping in some side lights for this door. I think I'm gonna make this 1'6". It's 2 feet right now. Okay, 1'6", and the height is set to 8 feet. So we're gonna change that to 6'8", and we're gonna just rename this to 1'6" by 6'8". Okay, and then in plan, I'm gonna just physically move this there, and then I'm gonna do MM, and I'm gonna mirror it on the center, and then we're gonna have a perfect side light on the other side. I'm gonna do a little detail line here, just to show a bench area. A little bench, a little sitting bench. Take your shoes off, take your coat off, put it in the closet. Alright, so I think I'm going to try and do the same tall fractional. Craftsman, that's random. So, Craftsman I don't think was an option before. Traditional top light only, we could try that. Pattern number 2. So now these side light pattern numbers and names are a little bit different than what we were looking at with the windows before. So traditional top light only doesn't seem to have changed anything. I want to see what Craftsman is, because I pretty much have an idea of what the prairie is going to look like. I don't know what prairie top light only is. Maybe we should look at what that is. Okay. So Craftsman is like this, the tall fractional thing that we have kind of going on. It is definitely a little shorter than I'd like it to be, though. Let's see what prairie top light only looks like. Also not really feeling that, so I think I'm gonna go back to 6. And I don't think I can make it longer. It doesn't really look like there's any way to control like where that falls. But I'm gonna keep it like that for now. I want to see what traditional top light only looks like. Show me what traditional top light only means. Nothing. Nothing. Alright, well I definitely want this to be 2x2. I don't want 3. It's too busy. 2. Pattern number. Craftsman. Let's see what that looks like. Honestly, front door. I think I just might want 0. Like traditional, like nothing. Like 1. Yeah, I feel like that probably looks the best, honestly. I think I could try and change the panel here. Okay, well, just changes like the side frame. So I'm just gonna remove this, make it 1, 1, 1. I don't want there to be any bars on these. I want a clean front entry. So readjust my position in my chair. Alright. Maybe I have to just put 0 here. 0, 0, 0. What? Didn't let me take it away? Where'd my music go? I need my ambiance. Okay, well, let's just try to change it to prairie. I don't want there to be lights. Alright, so it's not allowing me to just have like a plain side light. So I'm just going to change the side light family. I don't know if it's just the family that's being tricky, so I'm just going to swap this one out. It's obviously way bigger than I need it to be, but I'm just going to try and make it a clear one and see what happens here before I bother adjusting it to be the size I need it to be. So really these side lights are 4 different types of doors in the Anderson family world here, but for us it doesn't really matter. So this side light is working the way that I'd like it to work. So I'm just going to rename it and resize it. So 1'6" by 6'8". Oops. 1'6" by 6'8". Okay. So I just want all to be clear. I really do like this brick pattern. So I think I'm just going to keep it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I try and change it? I can look at some hatch patterns on a website and then load them in. We could do that, or we could just keep it for now. So interesting. When I made it smaller, this showed up. So I wonder if I make it like 2 feet, if it'll go away. Why is it that when I make the width smaller, Anderson windows, I get a mullion? When if it's wider, I don't get a mullion. I need answers. I need answers. See? Interesting. I need some answers, Anderson windows. So yeah, I'm just gonna undo all of that because, well, I'm gonna undo it because there was no point in doing that. I'm gonna just change this. I'm gonna change it to traditional. And we're just gonna have one line going down the middle of the window. We're gonna call it a day. I want to start working with this facade. I need this facade to have some life to it. There's no windows on it right now. We need something. I feel like it needs maybe like a circular window. Why is my wall off? Edit profile. Can my walls stay? Stay. Pin. Stay. Alright, let's look at some windows. Let's see if I have a circular one. I do. Oh. Little tiny one. Kind of looks cute. Too bad this door is not centered right now, so let me go back to the first floor. Yeah, because if the door's not centered on the peak, it's not going to look good. So, I probably should have done that before I started to align them. I just am moving them. I could have aligned them, but I'm just dragging it and snapping it. Alright. I feel like, honestly, a 24-inch diameter looks pretty good. We could make it a 36. That looks way too big. So let's pop it back down. Do I feel like this one needs lines through it? Kind of. Do I also feel like it doesn't really fit there? Kind of. So I'm going to remove it. And I'm going to do just a smaller square window, picture window, or a casement window. It doesn't really matter. Picture, casement. You can use whatever family, really. And then you just go in and you can change whatever you want. So, wow, that's a big prairie. A picture window. The picture window definitely needs to be smaller, but I always place the window because it takes a little bit to load, and then I just manipulate it. So definitely needs to be square. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm definitely gonna make it smaller, but I want to do a split face here, and what that means is I'm gonna divide the plane of this wall so I can paint it two different surfaces, basically. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a horizontal piece of trim, and this is how I'm going to do a horizontal piece of trim with the split face. So I'm gonna do an offset here. I want my split face to be here. I think the piece of trim can stay here for now. In terms of how it ends up, it might be raised or lowered, but for now I'm going to leave that there. And I'm going to go with the paint tool, and I'm just going to paint this above area and the bottom area white. Alright. And then I'm going to go in here, I'm going to change this picture window. Casement might... See, so this is just a shape change, obviously, for the casement window. I don't love the way that looks. I'm just looking at different sizes, different proportions. I just made it a little bit bigger. Yeah. Definitely feels weird. So whatever the proportion of this is, 4 by 8, so 4 high, and then 8 divided by 3, 8 feet divided by 3, I don't know what that ends up working out to be, but I think I'm going to take one of these windows and put it here. So I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to make it I'm gonna go with 2.8 wide by 4 tall. I'm gonna keep the pattern the same on the top floor for the windows, just so there's some consistency across the board there. I'm gonna add in the trim, number 2. I'm gonna scroll down here, make this 4, make this 2.8. All right, and I think that looks actually pretty good. It might be a little bit taller, which is weird because it's supposed to be 4 foot. Oh, the height is 3'6". See, this is what I'm saying. You go in and you change it. You gotta match the name to what it actually is, because it's easy to sort of lose track of things easily when you're mislabeling them. And I think I'm gonna make this I need to look at this in elevation, because right now I need to make sure it's centered on the peak. Okay. I think I'm gonna add like little eaves here and here, and then I'm gonna do some trim across it. So let's go to the roof plan, top plate plan. All right. And let's just draw in a little roof corner over here. I want to be a hip, so I'm gonna undefine that one, and then we're gonna check it off and we're gonna go see how it looks. We're gonna place it where it needs to be placed. This roof is 8. This roof is also 8 thickness, so I'm just gonna put that at the corner there. And you can see that the more we extend this out, the more of this kind of corner we'll get. So this roof should say what the pitch is, but I don't know why it's not saying what the pitch is. Maybe because the pitches are different. They shouldn't be different though. This pitch is set to be a 9/12. Okay, so this one also should be set. Oh, this is closed. 9/12. So 9/12. 9/12. If I go to the roof plan, I'm just gonna go to the top plate plan. Let's move this over just a little bit. Let's see what it's at. So 2, 3. Let's do 3 feet. So, do I feel like it looked better before, or do I feel like it looks better now? That's the true question. Did it look better before, or does it look better now? I think it looked better before, with like a little tinier portion. So I'm gonna go back to the top plate. I'm gonna go back in, and this was 2, 3. So I think I'm gonna just make it 2, 6. So we're gonna just bump it out 3 inches instead of going to 3 feet. I just think that it felt way too big for this space. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna join these geometries, and it's gonna clean it up automatically for me. I'm gonna go to the east elevation. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna mirror it along the peak. So I'm gonna draw the axis here, and voila. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm going to take the join command up here, and I'm going to join this so it's seamless and then it looks super cute. I'm going to copy this over here. I need to just move it because obviously it's not in the same location. I'm going to change that. So now that I can see where our eaves are aligning to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oops, just knocked off my Revit. My webcam did freeze, so sorry that you're frozen on my face on YouTube, guys, but you are. The Revit's not frozen, so that's all that really matters. So I'm going to join this. I feel like this one we could make bigger, though, just because this is like a bigger face in general. I need to get my phone charger. My phone's going to die, but I've already been streaming for an hour. I feel like time goes by so fast. Okay, so I'm gonna make this 3/6. I want it to be like a full foot out there. Let me see what it looks like. I like it. I almost feel like I need to see what would happen here if this gets smaller. So I feel like this could be smaller. So let me duplicate this. And let's just do a 6-inch roof here. So let's just do 5.5 structure. Alright, I do like this way better. I don't think this piece down here needs to be as thick as it was. So I'm also gonna make this less thick as well. I do feel like we could extend that up if we wanted it to go all the way in the corner, or we could keep it cut off like that there. It's really up to us and what we want to do with the design. So because this one's joined, I think I can't like manipulate it in the same way. When I click on this one, I can move it up and down. Whereas for some reason I can't with this one. I think it's just, like I said, because I joined it. So if I unjoin the geometry, yeah, now it will allow me to move it up and down. But I'm just going to undo that because I like it. So this, on the other hand, I don't love. So I do think I want to have that be a complete eave. I don't think I like that like little cutoff portion there. I think I want it to go all the way up to the corner, so I'm just going to drag that. It is going to change the pitch over here. It's going to tell me what it is. It's different on all sides, so if I wanted to know, I could click into it. Oops. I'm just going to join this geometry and this geometry. Cute. And then I'm going to move this split face. So now that I know where my eaves are, I want this to be in alignment with them. So 7.5. Really, it would be 7.25. But I'm just gonna keep it as 7.5. I say that because the nominal wood trim pieces are a 2x8 is a 7.25. But for this, it's okay. It's okay. I'll let it slide. Okay, let me copy this over. Let me copy you over and put you in place. Put you in place. Let's bring it back. So I literally just copied that. Bam. Let's do the roof join. Let's do this join tool. So this is joining all geometry. It's not just the roof join tool. All right. So cute. I'm loving this. So that's looking good. And then here, I think I would do some metal roof. Do I have time for that before my phone dies? I would say let's just do the metal roof real quick. We could do it. We could do the metal roof pieces. So, I don't even know if I do have a view of the roof. Okay. Let's go to roof. This is how I create metal seams. So I'm gonna just switch to copper seam. 3 inches is 2.5 inches thick. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it at a 2.5 inch thickness because that's gonna be the depth of my metal roof like ridges. So this will work. I'm going to create one here. I want it to be sloping in the same direction. I'm going to make sure that the outline is 1 inch because that is what I want my metal roof to be. I'm gonna go here. This is a 3 pitch, so let's go over here and change this to be a 3 pitch. I'm then just gonna look at it from the side. I'm gonna position this right on top. So these ridges will sit right on top of the roof. And I'm going to connect this one by using the roof join tool. So I just click the roof edge. I don't really know if I need to do this. Okay, I do. That looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the roof plan and I'm just going to copy this CO and I'm going to copy it 1 foot over, 1 foot over, 1 foot over, 1 foot over, 1 foot over. Alright, now I have a few of them, so I'm just going to do a little selection here. I'm going to do CO. I'm going to copy from a base point of that corner. I'm just going to do that. And this is going to copy them over for me faster. And then we're going to have to end the live because my phone's going to die and my YouTube webcam's already frozen. You can still see me on YouTube doing everything in Revit, but my face has been frozen over there. So now I can see I want this to be, I'm going to select similar so I can select them all. And then I'm just going to move this over a few inches because I didn't want it to be like uneven on one side. So that looks good. They do look a little tall right now, I won't lie. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to rename this, I don't know, 2 inches. It's 2.5 inches right now. I'm going to make it 1.5. I'm also going to take away this copper. The copper right now has this vertical pattern associated to it, so I'm just going to change this to be no pattern. That looks better. The height of them doesn't look as intrusive. And then I feel like I should just add a piece of trim here because it's looking a little sad. It's looking a little sad. So do I want to do 2x12 or 1x8? Yeah, okay. Let's do 2x12. And then I'll just put one all around here. And then I'm going to do another and go back into it. Pick fascia again. Pick the 1x8 now. And now I'm going to place this right on top. So where I created these together, it did not automatically link them. So I'm actually just going to create them separate on top. So this was all created in like one command, so I'll move it all at once. When you reactivate the fascia and you go back into it, it basically creates like a separate entity. So I'm going to escape out and I'm going to create another fascia and I'm going to put it here. So now they're not connected, they're separate. And I'm just going to move this one out and I'm going to move this one out and I'm going to join them with the join tool and it should clean up. Elements do not intersect. Yeah, I guess. kind of hard to see from this angle. See, so now they're joined. It does look a little wonky, but we'll just leave that unjoined for now, and I'll just bring this in front because being a pain in my butt, it knows my phone's about to die, and then I'm on a time crunch right now trying to get this fascia on. Alright. I'm just going to pull it in front. And there we go. Let there be detailing. Let there be detailing. I also think this maybe doesn't need to be a foot overhung on the sides. I don't really like the way it's looking. I don't like what it's giving. I don't like what it's giving. Alright, my phone's on 2%. 2%. We're on 2%, people. I thought I didn't have... I don't think this is a foot. What is this? A foot. Okay. Let's just do 6 inches. Because a foot feels a little bit too much for this. So I'm just going to move this all in 6 inches. We're going to make it before my phone dies, guys. We're going to make it. We're going to finish this little area. And then I'm going to close it out. Alright. So my roof up top, obviously, these are now kind of messed up. But that's okay. So select similar, visible in view, and let's just move you over. Alright, so that looks good. Alright. So they did move completely because my roof changed. So I'm just going to select all instances, visible in view. I'm going to move them all at the same time. It's no big deal. Move this here. And they'll automatically just clean up into this roof because they're all connected. And now it looks great. Alright. Well, I'm happy with how this is looking. I feel like I need some color though. Oh, it's looking cute. I mean, the colors are a little bit wonky, but I'm gonna add some shadows, give it some depth. Looking cute. Probably gonna turn the shadows off. Consistent colors, textures. What's textures? Ooh. Okay. Textures is definitely interesting. Consistent colors. We're gonna go back to consistent colors. Shaded. Shaded. Jaded. Shaded. Alright. Well, thanks for coming to another Model with Mel live session. I'm so happy you could join us. And I'm gonna go before my phone dies. See you guys next week. I got my phone.